Hey guys, Ted from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with
Dave.
Today we have a GM911 from A. Gillespie. Hope I pronounced that correctly. And he's got a warlock who is a storm warlock.
No, environmental patron.
Oh, environmental patron. My apologies.
And it's a witch. So I'm not even sure if this is technically 5th edition.
Oh, okay.
Head down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, where you can get weekly gaming tips and learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So he basically wants to have, they've run afoul of Pazuzu, the demon prince, and he wants to have the demon prince corrupt the patron so that...
Well, I don't think so much the patron, but the witch, and wants to make it seem like, it's coming from the patron, so we're sliding in there. Maybe even take over the patron. And I'm not sure on that point as well, but...
So we've done videos before on how to get, warlocks and things that are good characters to do essentially evil acts. And this is going to be, another, iteration along those lines. You can have someone do, to start off, having them do something that, by all accounts, this looks like a positive thing from someone who's got the grand view. That positive thing is going to produce a negative results long term, and that's the kind of things that you're looking for. And anytime you've got someone who's essentially working for someone, do this thing, it's good. Do this thing, it's good. Do this thing. Okay, well, he didn't say it's good, but everything else he's done has been fine. Here, do this thing. Do this thing. Well, all these things that are neutral in the middle, you're kind of viewing, well, how can they interpret this as a good action? Well, now all of these things have happened. All of these rewards have been given out. It's very easy to get that person to be like, okay, well, here, that thing that you wanted, here it is. All you have to do is just do this one thing.
Yeah, you want to move them incrementally. You don't want to do everything all at once.
Right, absolutely.
In this case, the demon lord is seeking to gain more control, more power over this witch, and influence her through her elemental patron. So we don't even know how they're working that pact, but but since it is an elemental patron, and this demon lord is the demon lord of air and no, it's not even. Is it a demon lord or element? I think it's one of the elemental lords, and they are evil. I don't know why we're calling them demon lords, but they're kind of like demon lords.
Well, it's a demon prince.
So. Yeah. So
I mean, you could just appear as.
Well, my point is, it's the prince of darkness and air. Mm-hmm. So that's that's very. It already has the elemental connotations in there, right? So it would be really easy to nudge them and push them in that direction and influence them through things that they're kind of used to accessing.
It says that she prays in nature, all the time. Well, all you have to do is just give a couple nudges by an air creature that tends to spend a lot of time around her, either an elemental or a winged creature, and it could be shapeshifted. It could be something that's actually much bigger. And the closer she gets to this.
Well, I think omens would be better. Giving them messages and omens through through the air, for instance, maybe a gust of wind comes through and then spells out a message and leaves, or a little Zephyr comes through and writes in the dirt, and then goes away, right? So it's still kind of naturey, but it's also at the same time you're still alluding to this greater power of evil that's also related to air and darkness. You can use and I actually saw this on the forums. Other people had mentioned about it, different avians as harbingers or messengers as well.
That's what I said.
Well, you said creatures, monsters.
Well, I had said things that were flying.
Yeah,
so that's where I was going.
But I was just bringing it to the point that there's ways to basically pull in the nature aspects of of this elemental prince, and it'll kind of trick the player, but at the same time you're giving clues.
Right.
And then it's like you said, it's, you know, you ask them to do things that seem not so bad or very neutral in their design, but really, you know, ultimately it's going to serve the evil ends. Like, you know, it might even be gaining relics and artifacts of this heir prince or his rivals, and, you know, having them delivered to a certain place or having them destroyed, and you know it starts imbalancing the world, you know, so that things are shifting towards Pazuzu.
Right. And you could have where, like, okay, every once in a while, because, you know, you want to, if you're looking to give out clues to see if they can stop it, you know, every once in a while, like, okay, that person you saved, you know, this happened, and, you know, wherever they are, you know, some great event transpired, and they might pick up on the connection between the person that was saved or not, and just see what they do with it. There's always ways to, you know, put out rumors and see how much people are going to put together clues, and only you know what your group is going to be like. I've known, you know, sometimes DMs will give out clues, and there's so many clues, and some things might be a false trail, some things might be obvious, and the players just don't pick up on the right ones. They run into all these trails and say, well, the last one though wasn't anything, so I'm just not chasing this one at all, and that was the big hook. So you really have to know what your players are going to do.
So I think so far they've just the DM has just messed with dreams and the character waking up from these dreams and having their familiar, which is a toad, feathered.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
And and there's no. I guess the real problem too is the DM doesn't have an end game.
Right. So that's unfortunately, you know, you always need to think about when you have a story arc. You don't have to have the whole thing written, because that's a way to get your players, you know, kind of peeved off. But if you have an idea of what you would like at the end, you know, do you want this person to totally go evil and become a villain in your world?
I don't think it'll peeve off your players. I just think they might not do it. It might peeve off you.
No, there's that too. I mean, you know, that's the whole strong arm versus not. But like if you have it where, okay, there needs to be some kind of confrontation, well then you need to know that there has to be enough clues that get bigger and bigger until the players figure it out that they're already within the clutches of this demon prince. How do they get out?
For instance, you need to locate and find object A and take it to place B, where the gate will be opened up for Pazuzu to come through to this world. That's his end game. That's his goal.
Right.
You made him angry, so he's going to use you as an unwitting pawn to do it. And also, not only does he want to come through the gate, he wants to subvert all other forms of elements and nature and have it replaced with air and darkness. You know, so it would be a complete abomination to what you believe in and what you want. So, like, you don't have to come up with all the details, but what you do need to go is, okay, well, to get object A, what does the player have to do? What kind of things are going to be necessitated? What is the overall con that Pazuzu is going to run on your player to try and push them to do it and make you think you're doing something really good, but in essence, he's really just trying to get you to help him bring around the end of the world.
Right.
You know, so like that would be an example that I would use of going down that road. Like, okay, you have the end goal. You vaguely know some of the things that have to happen, and you leave it vague enough that you can change it if you need to, you know, and finding other ways to make it interesting for the players and bring the other players in on this as well. I think this GM said something about side quests. I don't know if that includes the party or if these are, you know, solo adventures or
right.
just with some of the characters. But either way, you know, when you're doing something like this, you have to figure out how do the other players fit into it. How can I make it personal to them? How can I make them want to pursue this storyline as well? And not make, but entice.
Yeah.
And make it an exciting option for them. So that, like, you don't have, like, everything's about this one character. So it would be even better if you find other ways to begin tying
the other characters into that same story.
Yes, like perhaps like the object you have to get, you have to take it away from someone that one of the other players don't like, or several of the other players don't like, or there's already bad blood. So then again, like that makes it easier. Like, oh, like it's the enemy of my friend kind of thing, but you know what? But at the end of the day, like what you're trying to do is probably it might be wrong or unlawful. Like you're literally just trying to take someone else's property that perhaps they're supposed to have or they obtained rightfully. Could be a family heirloom. Who knows?
Right.
So there's just some ideas. If you guys have other ideas, fortunately this game is on hiatus right now, so I think we have time to get back to our DM who posted the question. You can do that in the comments below. Either add it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can head over to nerdarchy.com and check out the store, get some sweet swag or even some digital merchandise.
So until next time,
stay nerdy. You can have someone do, to start off, having them do something that, by all accounts, this looks like a positive thing from someone who's got the grand view. That positive thing is going to produce a negative results long term.
I'm not even sure if this is technically 5th edition.
Okay.
Head down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, where you can get weekly gaming tips and learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So, hey guys, Ted from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with
Dave.
Today we have a GM911 from A. Gillespie. Hope I pronounced that correctly. And he's got a warlock who is a storm warlock.
No, environmental patron.
Oh, environmental patron. My apologies.
And it's a witch in there. Maybe even take over the patron. And I'm not sure on that point as well. But
so we've done videos before on how to get, warlocks and things that are good characters to do essentially evil acts. And this is going to be, another, iteration along those lines. He basically wants to have, they've run afoul of Pazuzu, the demon prince, and he wants to have the demon prince corrupt the patron so that...
Well, I don't think so much the patron, but the witch, and wants to make it seem like, it's coming from the patron, so we're sliding